by your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. How about we go out to the Battery on what should be a sun-drenched evening here at SunTrust Park, where we will celebrate not one, not two, all four of the All-Stars for your Atlanta Braves, including hearing from that man right there, Mike Fultonevich, as well as the man that got more votes than anybody in the senior circuit, the youngster, Ozzie, making the trip to D.C., as is the veteran for the first time in his career. What a great story that is with Nick Markakis. We will hear from all of them as we take you right up to first pitch here on a homestand finally for the Braves. They're back in the ATL, and we are happy to have them. Hello again, everyone. Jerome Jurinovich along with Brian Jordan and BJ. After the way that road trip wrapped up the last 7 games, it's good to be back home.
It is great to be back home, and it's the most important homestand of the year for the Braves. You got to have momentum going into the second half of the season.
Well, we begin this homestand with an interleague matchup, and the good news for the Braves is that means no DH, and for Toronto, no Kendrys Morales. Of course, he's available to pinch hit. May see him tomorrow, but he's not in that starting lineup today, and he is one of their big bats. On the right side, as you can see, Ozzie, Freddie, Nick, all going to the All-Star game along with their pitcher Mike Fultonevich. Our inside look brought to you by the Toyota RAV4 takes a look at the 4 All-Stars right there, and Freddie Freeman, a tip of the cap. We have known he has been a superstar here in Braves country, but the national media and all of North America giving him his just desserts. Boy, that's going to be his 3rd All-Star game, but there is many more in his future. Nick Markakis, what a great story, finally getting to an All-Star game after all those years. Ozzie, his first one, such a youngster, and Mike Fultonevich has fireballed his way to a trip to D.C. as well. Let's hear from Freddie Freeman now. Why not? More votes than anybody in the National League.
Thank you. We are down here with the All-Star, Freddie Freeman. And Freddie, we've talked about this so much in the last month, but now it's official. You've had a day to really marinate on it. And an All-Star, I mean, what is that like to hear that next to your name?
It's nice. You know, it's been a few years, and to be able to go back and to be voted in by the fans, it kind of has you lost for words. Every time that balloting came out and you saw that I had the most votes, it's kind of just puts you into a wow situation that, you know, people actually voted for you and care about you and want you to go back to the All-Star game. So it's definitely going to be fun going back, and hopefully we do well.
The day that it was announced, you almost got a
It's the final week before the All-Star game in Washington, D.C., and a beautiful warm night reached the Toronto Blue Jays and Braves for Game 1 of a 2-game series. Freddie Freeman, over 4 million votes. Mike Fultonevich, his first All-Star selection as a Brave starter. Ozzie Albies, also a first-time All-Star. And Nick Markakis, more hits than anybody in the big leagues, also making his first All-Star appearance. It is a star-studded night tonight here in Atlanta, and our 2 All-Stars, Jeff Francoeur and Joe Simpson, with me for Game 1 of this series. Hopefully tonight's starting pitchers can pitch like former All-Stars. Let's start, Joe, with Julio Teheran, who's had an up-and-down run his last 6 times out.
Boy, exactly right, Chip. Up and down is exactly right. And tonight he's due for a good one. But he has been very hot and cold over his last 6. Now, the last start, he gets a pass against the New York Yankees in New York. He was sicker than a dog. We didn't know it. But he went 5 innings and struck out 10 despite that. He just wasn't feeling good. His last 4 starts, last 2 against the National League, outstanding. His last 2 in interleague play, not good at all. And he's facing another American League team tonight.
And another American League pitcher, Marcus Stroman, the product of Duke University. Jeff, you've seen this guy before, a 13-game winner last year. Times have been tough for him in 2018.
You know, last 2 years he's really had Cy Young type stuff, guys. But I talked to John Gibbons a little bit, and he said the one thing Marcus Stroman's always done a good job of is keeping the balls down, getting ground balls, and not walking people. Well, he's on pace for the highest walks of his career, and the ball's up in the zone. Don't let that 1 and 6 with a 6.5 fool you, though. We all know this guy, if he gets going and has the stuff he has, we're in for a tough night. We got to come ready.
Well, it's a big week for the Atlanta Braves. A lot of momentum could be gained in this Eastern race, which is for the moment neck and neck, tied up. Braves and Phillies atop the division. Coming up, more Braves, Blue Jays notes and news as we get you set for Game 1 of 2 here in Atlanta tonight.
Highway Safety Team. The All-South Highway Safety Team reminds you to play it safe by slowing down behind the wheel.
Beautiful warm night in Atlanta as we join you from SunTrust Park. Currently 91 degrees and sunny. A few clouds overhead, but should have no weather issues. Good to have Kelsey Wingert along as well for game one of our 2-game series. Guys, an important 5-game stretch for the Braves before the break. Toronto here now, Arizona coming in next, and Atlanta hopes to continue its good play here at SunTrust Park. And it all has to start, fellas, with the starters. That's our Synovus Greatness Made Here feature.
Yeah, the last 15 home games, the starters have been outstanding. A 2.09 ERA, low batting average against, 2 or fewer runs in 12 of those 15 ball games. Hopefully, Julio can feed off of that. His home road splits. 8 home starts, high ERA. That's nothing unusual. He's had a little trouble here at SunTrust Park, but again, higher this year than he is on the road where he's pitched outstanding. But he's just got a 2.08 batting average against him overall. His trouble, keeping the ball in the ballpark. So let's go to the 4 keys to pitching success tonight. And the number 1 is keep the ball in the park. No home runs. He's given up 17 of them so far this year. And if there's one thing we saw from the Blue Jays in Toronto, they can hit the long ball. It's turned for a hot one. He's been hot and cold tonight. Tonight it's a hot turn. And again, a pass on that start in New York after he had pitched so brilliantly in St. Louis.
And he's facing a Toronto club that is the exact opposite of hot. They are 4-5 in their last 9 games. Joe, you made an interesting observation about John Gibbons' Toyota starting lineup. This is not a prototypical mashing American League East offensive group.
No, they only have one guy in the lineup tonight that's hitting as much as 250, and that's Solarte at 250 on the nose. Everybody else is below that, and yet combined their lineup tonight, they've hit 6 home runs individually against Julio Teheran, including the pitcher last year.
And well, that's John Gibbons, who you spoke to, Jeff, before the game. Beg your pardon.
No, so I was saying you look at their lineup, and that's what Gibby was saying. All these guys have track records, and they can do damage. And he said, we just haven't been able to do it consistently. And one thing we also know is that they're playing against the Red Sox and Yankees, and it's kind of like the old days when they were both good. Everybody else was playing for third.
Well, in that league, if you don't hit in the AL East, you got problems. And they've really had trouble with their offensive club. Pitching has been a problem. Jay Happ's had a couple of bad starts in a row, which has certainly hurt. Some think his trade value as the deadline approaches. But the Braves know this man very well. Curtis Granderson, the former Tiger, former New York Met. Granderson with 9 homers is going to lead off here for the Blue Jays. 46 leadoff homers for Curtis Granderson. 3 homers lifetime against Julio. Let's see how it works out here in the top of the first. And we are underway for the Braves and Blue Jays. Strike 1 from Julio Teheran. Joe, you mentioned Julio very sick after his last start. Was sent back to Atlanta ahead of the team. He did not accompany us to Milwaukee. What do you guys look for from Julio in this first inning or so with regard to the illness?
I just hope he's well rested. He says that he's okay. He's over it. He apparently had a side session in Gwinnett, so that should kind of perk him up, get him back on the beam.
And he's going to get Granderson to pop up to straightaway center. Ender in the dappled sunshine, back a step or 2, makes the play. And Curtis Granderson's retired on a soft fly ball for out number 1.
I mean, that game he pitched against St. Louis, and we talked extensively about how he and Anibal Sanchez had talked and kind of refined his windup a little bit. But against St. Louis, 6 innings, a 2-hit shutout ball, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, and then 10 strikeouts in 5 innings in New York. It's there. He just needs to feel good.
Yangervis Solarte's the Toronto third baseman. And right now he's arguably their best hitter. He leads their club in hits, homers, and runs batted in. A switch hitter. And batting .250 for the season. Julio's got good velocity, 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
I would expect him to come out and throw a good game tonight. You know, it's kind of like a mini break for him. He came home for 4 days, got a rest, and I don't think it's the worst thing sometimes.
No.
Maybe it's good to let a guy, especially those starters, have a break.
Yeah, just missed.
And Kurt Suzuki gets a new baseball for Julio. He thought he had Solarte struck out. Corey Blazer, by the way, has the plate. Aptly named umpire on a hot 90-degree night. And that's pulled down the right field line and into the seats. We'll do it again. A ball and 2 strikes.
You know, I got a chance to play with Solarte in San Diego. And what a story, if you don't know, with him, with his wife dying. I think it was 2 years ago,
right.
Of cancer with his 3 little kids. What a great guy. And he just talks about putting baseball in perspective. I thought it was some great articles written on him.
You bet.
And the guy can play. He can hit, I'll tell you that.
I like him a lot. Liked him in San Diego.
Plays hard.
And he's been a godsend for Toronto with Josh Donaldson out at third base, Troy Tulowitzki out at shortstop. Solarte's done real good work for Gibbons. And tonight batting second. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And now a full count.
Well, from an offensive standpoint, you talk about it. Imagine taking Donaldson and Tulowitzki. That's like for us taking Freddie and Nick Markakis out of the lineup for an extended period of time. You're not going to be able to succeed.
Toronto 41-48 on the year. Already 20.5 out of first on a line drive toward right. Markakis will play that high off the padded wall, and he played it beautifully. So it's a long single for Solarte, who is down 0-2, got to a full count, and he's got the game's first hit.
Watching these guys take batting practice today, they were having the best time, the Blue Jays. And even though they play in a ballpark that's great for hitters, they were certainly enjoying seeing what they could do with that right field wall.
Well, and the one thing you can say with Toronto, though, it pretty much carries the same year round. You know, it doesn't change much. When you come here and it's hot like it was today, boy, that ball jumps.
And the ball's jumping off this man's bat, Justin Smoke. He's riding a hot streak. Smoke has multi-hit games in his last 3 in a row. He's knocked in a run in 4 straight Toronto games. So John Gibbons stacking his hottest hitters at the top of the lineup. See if they can plate an early run. With Solarte at first and 1 out. And he didn't get it. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's in the dirt. Ball 2.
Smoke's a switch hitter. 9 of his 12 homers have come left-handed.
I got to imagine most switch hitters most of their home runs are going to come from the left-handed side just because of how many righties they face.
More bats.
You would think.
Justin's from Braves country, lives in Ravenel, South Carolina. Didn't get it. Earned 4 baseball letters at Stratford, South Carolina High School, where he was teammates with Matt Wieters. Then Smoke went to the University of South Carolina. Then to Texas, Seattle, and now Toronto. Two balls, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss. Good fastball for Julio. 93.
You know, he's doing it without falling all over the mound, too. Very direct delivery to the plate. It's not spinning out. Look at him square up there.
Well, you talk about it right there. That's just let it rip. I'm going to throw it right by you. And, you know, when Julio's throwing 93, it's the sneak. It feels like 95, 96 because how he sneaks it. But that's the key to him, is having that velocity up in that range.
That'll bring up Randall Grichuk, hitting .203. He got off to a miserable start at the plate for the Blue Jays. He's had to work hard to get his average over 200. 11 homers, 28 knocked in for the former Angel and former Cardinal.
This is the one for me, guys, that I continue to think this guy is going to figure it out. He has got pop. He's fast.
Yeah, I would think that he would be on somebody's radar for a trade deadline deal, and forget about the 208 average, because he can, like you said, he can hit some home runs, win some ball games for you. He plays good defense.
That missed a corner, and it's quickly 3-0 to Grichuk, who had a double, a walk, and a run scored on June the 19th against the Braves, who pummeled Toronto 11-4 in that game. Three balls and a strike. Toronto got Randall Grichuk in January of this year from St. Louis for Dominic Leone and right-handed pitcher Connor Green. And Julio walked him, 2 on, 2 out. And that'll bring up Russell Martin, the Blue Jays catcher. Russell's 35 years old. He is a native Canadian. Lives in Chelsea, Quebec in the offseason. He signed through the 2019 season at big dollars.
He's got one more year on that.
At like $20 million bucks. Yeah. The pitch. And that's upstairs.
That's going to be interesting to see what they do with him. I'm sure as the deadline comes, but this offseason.
Catching is hard to find.
It is hard, and he's had some good luck and some good numbers down the stretch and in postseason.
Yeah.
One ball, no strikes. And Russell a little late. It's an even count.
You were telling me before the game, Chip, he actually started a game at shortstop?
He did. He started a game in May for Toronto. And they have had a bunch of guys start at shortstop for Toronto. In fact,
was that draw out of a hat day?
No, well, John Gibbons this year has had a man start at shortstop from 7 different countries this year. That's hard to do.
That's amazing.
And I'll tell you the names a little later on tonight. 1-2 pitch. Check swing and bounced out of play. But it all starts with Tulowitzki. It's a real shame that Troy's had those feet problems the last couple of years with Toronto.
I'll tell you what, I got a chance. John Gibbons was my bench coach in 11 in Kansas City, and I loved him. I was talking to him today, and he said something that was so good. He's talking about Snit and the job he's doing here. He said, you know what he's done that I love doing for those 3 years when we were really rolling in Toronto is I put the lineup up and get out of the way. Let him play. You don't hear many managers say that.
No.
They want that credit or to thank, and he said, what, you know, when you got Donaldson, Encarnacion, Batista, Tulowitzki, what, you just let them go. And you see Snit's done that with the lineup for the most part this year.
It's awfully nice when you've got a number 3 and number 4 hitter that you just plug in every day.
You know they're playing.
Yeah.
And really for us, you know the 5. It's either going to be Kurt or Tyler.
2-2 pitch. And outside. So after getting the second out, Julio's walked Grichuk. He's now got a full count with Martin, and he's piled up 26 opening inning pitches.
Catching his breath here. I think that's a good thing. He seems to be rushing a little bit. Take a breath, regroup, make a good pitch.
So the runners lead with 2 outs. They'll get a head start. And the pitch is caught on and missed. And that retires the side. A couple of base runners, a couple of strikeouts for Julio. No score. Braves come up against Marcus Stroman here at SunTrust Park. They will face Marcus Stroman, the talented but shoulder injury plagued Toronto right-hander in game 1 tonight. Here's the Braves batting order presented by Toyota. No surprises. Good to see Ronald Acuna back in there playing left field. Ryan Snitker's Bravos 50-39 on the year. Exact same record with the Philadelphia Phillies, with whom they're tied atop the National League's Eastern Division.
Marcus Stroman, 27 years old, 5'8", 180 out of Duke University. Check this out. Since 2017 season, the best ground ball rate of anybody in baseball. He'll give you a lot of looks, fastball, curveball, slider. More curveballs than sliders lately because of that shoulder issue. But he'll pause, he'll do a little tee-out spin, he'll give you just about anything you want.
And a swinging bunt right out in front of the mound, and Stroman with one pitch gets Ender to roll out. And the Braves offensive night is underway with a 1-3 put out at first base.
And he's a good athlete. He feels his position. He could play a position if they needed him to. He was a second baseman at Duke.
Yeah, you can't. I said it in the pregame. You cannot pay attention to his record.
Do not look at his
numbers. I guarantee you, not one team that's faced him this year has paid attention to his record. One thing will be interesting, Joe, to think about as the game goes on. It's probably been a while for him since he's pitched in this kind of heat too. What it does to him. He's been pitching in a dome, or at least in nice nights up there, and then up north for the most part.
Right.
Tampa's covered, so he hasn't played many games in this type of heat.
Ozzie Albies, the Braves batter, an all-star, and carrying a 6-game hit streak into action tonight. 11 hits in those 6 games for Ozzie. And this is a very even matchup. You've got Stroman at 5'8", you got Ozzie at 5'9". Let's see who wins. What a cool on-field ceremony before the game tonight, with the Braves All-Stars being presented their jerseys. Andrew Jones got to hand Ozzie Albies his All-Star togs tonight. Another swinging roller. Stroman, there's that good athleticism again. Nice play.
I thought it was cool. I saw, Freddie's wife, Fultie's wife was here with the kids, but just as long as I've known Nick, to see Nick's mom and dad, who they don't miss a game.
No.
It's incredible. And it's not in a weird way. Sometimes where you talk about it, his parents give him his space. They don't even go down there much. They just want to come to the game and watch him. And to see them give him his first All-Star jersey, it's pretty neat.
Quite a thrill for them, I'm sure.
I wonder who had more tears in their eyes, Nick or mom and dad. After all those years, Nick waiting for his first chance to be named an All-Star as a Major League player. It happened in Atlanta, his hometown. Amazing. Here's Freddie. 2 outs, bases empty. Shift on for him. And Freeman tipped that foul. Good to see him swinging the bat well, guys. It looked like he shook out of whatever offensive doldrums he had against the Brewers at Miller Park. 7 hits in his last 3 games.
Well, and I'll say this, it was nice to see that at Miller Park, because Miller, and I'm sure y'all talked about it on Sunday, but if you've never played a day game there, it's about impossible.
Right.
And we had 2.
And the first one might have been worse because
it was a 3:05 start.
That dappling on the infield from the shadows. The one thing that was amazing to me was that the Braves did not hit a homer there in 4 games. That never happens.
Well, I still tell people, I think the weirdest stat for me is I've hit a home run in every park except 2. Milwaukee and Toronto, which are both launching pads.
Wow. Huh.
And I don't think I sniffed the warning track in Milwaukee. Must have ate too many brats.
We were remarkably under control in that regard. I think we had 1 apiece.
That's a lie. I don't believe that at all. After what I see you 2 eat up here, there's no way.
Per night.
Yeah, 1
per inning.
No, 1 per person per night. You're not buying it.
I'm not buying it at all.
Well, we'd probably have eaten more, but they've got like this
Oh, cafeteria police lady that.
Ooh, she's strict.
Ooh.
Did you get any cheese curds?
No, tried to get ice cream, but you can only get it in a little pint-sized cup.
You put it in the wrong cup, they kick you out of the ballpark.
You go to jail.
Strike one from Markakis. And don't think about getting a brat without paying your $2. Ooh-wee. Mr. All-Star Nick Markakis at 322 on the year.
That's a good shot.
And out of play foul. It's 0-2.
You know, there was a lot of talk about the last 5 games of the trip going 1-4. If we were stumbling a little bit, I said it before we go. If we went 5-5, it was fantastic. Now I get it. You get out to a 4-0 start, you want more.
Sure.
But at the same time, we played one of the top teams in baseball in the Yankees, and then Brewers got the best record in the National League, and they're a complete team.
They certainly are. They really impress me. But now coming home and playing a sub 500 team,
You got to
and
take
then
care of
another good
business.
team. These are good games to get it kind of as a launching pad to the second half. If you can have a good homestand here over these 5 games.
You know, it's nice. So it's nice talking to the guys and asking them, you know, you ready for the All-Star break? And most of them, no, we want to play. That's nice to hear. That means you're winning.
1-2 pitch. Strike 3 inside corner. Stroman with a very impressive first inning. Freeman left stranded. No score. We head to the second. This moment, this is what took place before first pitch.
Hugging his dad Dennis there as he's getting a jersey from his folks. The Curacao guys.
Jet Fultonevich.
Yeah. He's an all-star and doesn't know it.
Yeah. You know what's cool about that too, guys, is, you know, there's some teams where you have to have an all-star. These were 4 guys that deserved to go to the game. And Ozzie was leading the whole time until the very end. And, you know, Javier Baez, he's definitely worthy of a start, so I'm not arguing there. But the fact of the matter is all 4 of these guys are very worthy of what they got.
It's a great thing. But you know, when you've placed 4, they all had merit.
Yeah.
Kevin Pillar leads off and cracks one out of play foul. Well, for the Braves, it's the first time since 2012 that they've had 4 All-Stars in a single season. The 4 that year.
Larry?
Yep.
Kimbrel?
Yep.
BMAC?
Nope. Little tapper back to the mound. It's been the highlight of the game.
Medlin?
Nope.
What year?
2012. One's an infielder, one's an outfielder.
Omar Infante.
No. The
He
infielder.
did go one year.
Yeah, he did. That's why I was saying as a
No.
reserve.
No. That was 2010.
Hayward?
Hold on, Francis. Home run hitting second baseman.
Dan Uggla.
Dan
Pipes,
Uggla.
Pipes McGee.
And
Michael
then
Bourne.
Michael Bourne.
There you go.
Yep, there you go. The 2010 year, it was Hayward, Hudson, Infante, BMAC, Martin Prado, and Billy Wagner.
6
for the Braves. McCann was the MVP that year. I think that was the game in Anaheim, right?
Yes, and do you know that in the last 15 years, that is the only year that the MVP did not get a car?
No.
And it was Brian McCann's
Really?
year. I swear to you, he got a bat.
Oh.
He said he wanted to break the bat.
That's right. It was that beautiful glass trophy, wasn't it? But it wasn't.
Everybody else is getting Camaros and
Corvettes.
Corvettes and Tahoes, and Brian got a handshake and a glass bat. Thanks for coming.
Stay hot.
And he hit lefty on lefty, remember, off Thornton for the double.
That's right.
A guy that nobody could hit.
Yeah.
That's hit to third, and a ricochet off Camargo. And Aledmus Diaz will reach with 1 out. We have not seen many of those for the Braves over the last 6 weeks.
If it's ruled an error, it will be the first error on a Braves infielder since June 27th. And it is an error and should have been, I think.
Might have took a little bit of a funny bounce right there.
Off his forearm.
Yeah.
He's been brilliant at third base.
So June 27th, you said?
Yep.
That's amazing. And I think it's only 7 errors since June 1st.
Right.
Ground ball hit toward Ozzie. He's going to fire to second, and that's the lead runner. That takes care of Diaz. Devin Travis trades places. He's at first.
Speaking of BMAC, he had a little surgery last week on his knee.
Hope he's feeling
He's
better.
doing good. Said he's feeling good. Said he couldn't get on his feet anymore to hit. Just had nothing with his knee, and I think he made the right choice.
Well, with any luck at all, he could have driven that car to the hospital. But
Exactly. Instead of that, he had to get an Uber.
Yeah.
You guys are relentless. Here's Stroman. This will be an interesting matchup. Last time Stroman faced off with Julio Teheran, he hit a homer. And he smokes that one into center field, and that's down for a base hit. So Stroman continues his good work at the plate. And the pitcher gets a hit, something you don't often see in interleague play in the National League parks. And the threat continues.
This guy's a baseball player, folks. He happens to pitch. That wasn't a bad pitch.
You can tell by looking at him. He's going up there with the mind instead of getting a hit.
Uh-huh.
So you got to face Granderson with 2 on and 2 out now. Granderson flied out to shallow center. Back in the opening inning, a 27 pitch frame for Julio. And downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes.
Good news for us is with an off day yesterday and off day Thursday, you can kind of work the pen a little bit here the next 5 days, knowing they're going to get a break again.
Right. The starting rotation didn't have a great road trip, especially the last 2 stops. So I think these days off will benefit them too, depending on, I think Fultonevich is supposed to pitch tomorrow. Is that right, Chip?
Yes.
So another day off on Thursday sets up well for the weekend going into the All-Star break, giving these guys a little extra time.
Well, and you want to tell them, go look at the pitchers that have played the Yankees and then the Brewers. There's a lot of rotations that have not had good start. I try to tell people we played 2 phenomenal baseball teams at their place.
And Arizona not too shabby either. They're here next, although it's a tough road for the Diamondbacks. They've got to play a series at Colorado before they come to Atlanta. 1-2 pitch. At the risk of making the baseball gods mad, I kind of hope for 3 15-inning games out there.
Well, they're going to feel like it anyway, because you burn through your bullpen so fast there.
Race in the West real tight. Arizona's lead over the Dodgers just 1/2 game. The Giants are 3 back. Colorado's 3.5 back. Everybody had a chance to bury the Dodgers out there and couldn't do it.
I think they'll win that division by 6-7 games.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. And Julio to work. And Granderson didn't get it. Julio's got 3 strikeouts in his first 2 innings. Kurt Suzuki leads off, still no score.
Mike Fultonevich being named to his first All-Star game, and his wife Brittany and son Jet presented him with his jerseys. But Sunday was a stressful and exciting day for his family. Now, he didn't tell his parents that he was named an All-Star because of the embargo. He figured his parents would be so excited they wouldn't be able to hold it in. So his mom and dad had to find out watching the selection show live. And his mom, Cindy, told me she was more nervous watching that than the 2010 draft, the year that he was drafted. And later that night, he did have a baseball autographed and delivered to them right next to his name. He made sure to put All-Star 18. And you guys, it is his mother's, Cindy. It is her birthday today. And she said she could not have asked for a better birthday gift than her son being named to his first All-Star game.
That's a great story, Kelsey. Thank you. And congratulations to Mike and the entire Fultonevich family. Jeff, you want to sing happy birthday to his mom?
I'll just wish her a happy birthday.
There you go.
Happy birthday.
Heck yeah. And that's a great present.
Yep.
So let's see if the Braves can make a little harder contact against Mr. Stroman here.
Only sing Bon Jovi, sorry.
We're somewhat happy about that. Stroman's numbers, first 2 innings, he's pretty tough. After that, things get tough for him. I'd like to hear him singing in the shower by the 4th inning tonight.
I wonder if Toronto's going to get some calls on him.
Price is down.
Yeah.
Numbers are down. Price is probably a little lower than it would have been normally. But again, he won 13 games last year and was 4th in the American League in ERA.
I was going to say, this is a guy that I wouldn't have a problem throwing out there every 5 days. He's a competitor, too.
Look at that uniform top. He is soaked through already. And Martin stole a strike. 2 balls and a strike to the Braves catcher, Kurt Suzuki.
He'll do that to you. That was a quick pitch. He didn't go into any kind of step, kick, or anything. There was a stride and delivery.
That's the one thing I want to outlaw from the game. I hate the quick pitch.
Slow roller hit towards Solarte at third, and throw to first. Nice stretch by Smoke. He saved a throwing error, and Kurt's retired to start the 2nd inning.
Solarte almost took too much time with the catcher running there.
Nice play by Smoke.
Yohan Camargo had a nice road trip, hit a couple of homers, and is batting .252 on the year. He's going to tap out to first. Another easy out, 2 away.
There's what you were talking about, Joe, before the game. Do you see that? The pause, like the double clutch. See if we can get it again here on the replay. It'll show you.
I'm told that it irritates a lot of people in the American League. We see him a lot more than the Braves do, but that some of his antics and I'll say post-out antics aggravate a few people.
And you see, he'll do it on a certain. You see Camargo's swing right there. He's kind of got the toe tap, then goes up, and I mean, it's a great idea to do it, especially for guys like that that have that load and that timing mechanism.
Good to see Acuna back in there.
Had a scare with Ronald up in Milwaukee. Sore groin kept him out of a couple of games. Braves used the off days very wisely with him, let him pinch hit. And good to go here tonight. Another off day coming Thursday. And now the 2-0 from Stroman. And he dropped that in for a called strike.
I had a doctor tell me yesterday it's not unusual if you've had a knee injury and you're favoring it somewhat, especially as hard as he was running to first, that sometimes that injury will move somewhere else. And if you're favoring that leg at all, there's a good chance you're going to maybe hurt a hammy or, in this case, a groin. Not unusual at all.
3-1 pitch. Hit high in the air toward left, but no carry to it. Granderson is there, and he's got it. Stroman has a 1-2-3 second inning. Solarte leads off. Still no score. Brought to you by Geico. July 10th, 1962, Washington, D.C. hosted the All-Star Game for the third time. The Braves had 5 reps that year. Hank Aaron, Del Crandall, Frank Bowling, Bob Shaw, and Warren Spahn. The National League won 3-1, with Maury Wills winning the first ever All-Star Game MVP award. This year will mark the 5th time that D.C. has hosted an All-Star Game. That's tied for 3rd most all-time behind New York and Chicago.
Bet Maury Wills got a car.
I remember that game. That was a good game.
I bet you did.
Yeah, it's a nail biter.
Poor Brian. I feel sorry for him now. I didn't know that.
Man, don't feel sorry. He's still doing okay.
Well, no, he's probably still making his payments and everything, but doggone it.
Jan Harvest Solarte leads off, takes a strike.
Where's he live? Is he living in Swanee? Where's he living?
Yeah.
I can just see that car still sitting on a little spinorama thing in his front yard.
Just waiting for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
he had the turntable built.
Yeah. Just showing everybody.
A squibber back to the mound. Boy, both pitchers are busy defenders early tonight. Julio's made a couple plays. Same for Marcus Stroman.
Cue ball.
That's what I told Brian on the road. I said, now that you're hurt and you're 4 or 5 weeks of no running and stuff. I was like, you can't be eating those ice cream sundaes at 2 in the morning for room service.
No.
Those Twinkies.
Justin Smoke, the batter. He struck out his first time. Brian, if you feel like you need to come down and settle this with Jeff, we can find another chair for you.
That's my boy. He'll be back.
And it's right there for a strike.
They just need to get him back and healthy and ready to go for the postseason again.
That's what he said. He said first week of August, second week, and get yourself revved up.
Houston's got a 3-game lead over Seattle out west. And a high towering fly ball toward right center. Enders sprinting to the warning track, to the wall, to the bullpen, and it is gone. Justin Smoke has hit a home run with 1 out. And the Jays are in flight with a solo shot. It's 1-0 Toronto.
Boy, that ball carried, didn't it?
It jumped.
Gosh, it went.
At least it was a solo shot. It didn't happen last inning with guys on.
I know you were talking earlier, Justin, being from South Carolina, told me he's got a bunch of family here tonight.
Oh, made a mistake upstairs. Even though it was away, it was up. Would that have hit the wall?
Yep, it was over a little
to the right.
It would have hit the wall.
And at Yankee Stadium, it would have been hit to Brooklyn. So it's 1-0 Toronto. Smoke with an RBI in 5 straight games now. Randall Grichuk, the batter, he walked in the first. So one of Joe's keys has come to fruition here for Julio. When he keeps the ball in the ballpark, he usually has a very good night.
But like Joe said, at least it was a solo shot.
Yeah. Quite different numbers with no homers.
Pop fly foul and out of play. Phillies are visiting New York again tonight. The Phillies and Mets split a doubleheader yesterday. Philadelphia leads 5-1 in the 4th inning at Citi Field tonight.
Did you see Aaron Nola yesterday? Not only did he throw 7 innings with 10 punch outs, but he hit a 3-run double.
Did he? I knew the pitching
They
was
had
good.
2 hits. The Phillies had 2 hits in the 2nd game, and one of them was a 3-run double.
And one. It was amazing. Out of play by Grichuk, 0-2.
He's been very good. So Zach Eflin.
A couple of pitchers making their debuts in the major leagues pitching tonight. Daniel De Los Santos is for the Phillies. They got him from the Padres for Freddie Galvis. Drew Gagnon is pitching for the Mets.
Mets have been running some guys out there I've never heard of. I mean, I don't know if it's a tryout camp or not in advance of DeGrom getting traded or what it might be.
The real question is, do we see Tim Tebow in September?
Oh, probably.
Why not?
If he deserves it, I hope so.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch for Grichuk. He's in the dirt.
I'll tell you this, I give him a lot of credit. Not even, I didn't think he'd be able to hold his own at Double-A.
No.
And he's grinded him out.
A Smoke homer has put Toronto in front 1-0. They have the game's only 3 hits. And now Grichuk with a 2-2 count.
Pretty good pitch there.
Yeah, there's been a couple that Julio didn't agree with from Mr. Blazer that looked like strikes.
He's not giving the ball down.
Broken bat. Another chance for Julio. Nice play. Good throw. 2 outs. Nice seeing both starting pitchers field their positions well.
There's a couple of these, especially that one, where if Julio were doing his delivery like before Chuck Hernandez and Sanchez got him squared away, They would have been really difficult to.
That's probably a
run
knock
out.
right there.
Yeah.
That pitcher's the only one that can make that play right there, especially on a guy like Grichuk who's fast.
And here is Russell Martin, the Blue Jays catcher / shortstop, who struck out to end the first inning. Toronto with 7 nations represented by starters at shortstop this year. Martin from Canada, Aledmus Diaz from Cuba, Richard Urena from the Dominican Republic, Gift Ngope from South Africa, Yangervis Solarte from Venezuela, Devon Travis from the U.S., and Giovanni Urshula from Colombia. And a nice diving stop by Camargo off the bat of Martin, who says "Sacre bleu." He's out.
South Africa?
Yeah, Gift Ngope from South Africa.
Impressive that you know how to say the name.
Line drive at third takes care of Martin. 1-0 Toronto. Braves for the latest from our 4 All-Stars and hear their reactions prior to their big trip to the Capitol next week. We'll be there too with full coverage of the All-Star festivities and all things Braves. And speaking of which, here's another All-Star you might remember. He's got a busy July too. That was Chipper Jones at his home yesterday, writing his speech for his Hall of Fame induction ceremonies at Cooperstown. Catch it all on Twitter at Fox Sports Braves.
All right, I got a question for y'all. There's Chip. What are the chances that that was staged?
No, he was. No.
You think Chip was working hard?
He was. Little tapper toward the mound. Another play for Stroman. The starters are the defensive MVPs of the game so far. Dansby's retired, 1 out. I got to tell you, we were overwhelmed by the generosity of time and content of Chipper Jones at his home yesterday. Our Fox Sports crew was there for 4.5 to 5 hours talking to Chipper at length about a lot of different subjects, including what's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. And our videographer Kevin Allison, Sean Farnham, Gretchen Caney and I were there, and he was just terrific. And we can't wait for the features to come out. Greg Tureau and Christina Atkins were also there with us. Just unbelievable content, stuff Braves fans have never heard before from Chipper, and really a treat for all of us to spend time not just talking about Chipper the baseball career, but Chipper Jones the person.
I bet it was terrific. I bet you had a great time.
It was awesome,
provided he served you lunch.
No lunch.
No.
Cold water.
Okay.
That was nice of him. Bottled?
Bottled. It was a little tapper by Julio.
little tapper water.
Yeah. 2 outs. But I must say, the thing that struck me most about our conversations with Chipper is how happy and at peace, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but how mature he is. He's just very, very content in his life right now, and that was, as a friend of his, so gratifying to see.
Well, and I look back from when Chipper finished baseball to now, and kind of like you said, how much he's just grown up and how much he, I think, has looked back and enjoyed what he was able to accomplish.
I think this may not be 100% fair, but baseball was pretty much his life. I mean, he wanted to be a baseball player. He wanted to be a great player. I think it is fair.
You're right.
And when it was over, that changed in terms of his attention.
And that was a subject we discussed as well, so we can't wait for all of those features and the great work of our Fox Sports crew who will put it all together. Stroman's rolling. He leads 1-0.
And by SunTrust. Confidence starts here.
Marcus Stroman hasn't given up a hit, and the Braves have hit 1 ball out of the infield so far. As we welcome those fine folks from Belgium here in town to watch the Braves. And right now the score is similar to something they may be not too happy talking about.
I was just going to say, well, they got nothing else to watch now. They might as well watch the Braves.
They got to be. Hey, they made it to the.
They got to be
Final Four.
Broken-hearted.
Hey, it is what it is. You got to show up when the lights come on.
Tough game.
Speaking, of course, of the World Cup, France beat Belgium today. Who's left? Croatia
and England.
Oh, that'll be a slobber knocker battle.
Yeah, Jay, Chad, and I have a big wager tomorrow.
Got some cheese on it?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, getting back, and I know we've talked about it, I had one more thing I wanted to say with Chipper. That I think it's cool that he's kind of the last person going in from the Braves group that kind of came through, because, and this has nothing to do, no disrespect to Smoltz, Glav, Maddox, and what they've done, but I feel like Chipper's a guy that everyone resonated with for the sole fact that he played every day.
Right.
And you could go to a game, 7 games a year, like I did as a kid, and you might never see Maddox pitch.
True.
But you're seeing Chipper play, and I think that that's kind of what the fans loved. You know, he was that young kid that came up and just took this city, and, you know, everybody grew with him, even through the tough times, and he was very open in his book, which I commend him for. You know, if you're going to write a book, I guess tell it like it is. But, you know, he let everybody kind of grow with him, and, you know, I think that's why it's going to be really cool to see him going in a couple weeks.
It really is the closure of a circle, like you said. There's a shot someday Andrew Jones could be headed to Cooperstown, as this one's out towards center. Ender Inciarte will make the play. But, you know, all of us who grew up watching the Braves got to cover those great teams. It's truly the end of an era. in that you have all of those guys going into the Hall of Fame, and it's Chipper the last one. And how great is it for this Braves franchise to have the kind of season they're having this year, perhaps the start of a new era of success. Who knows who's in the Braves lineup tonight that might someday end up being afforded the same honor that Chipper and Bobby and the big three and John Schuerholz have received.
Well, what it requires is just what Chipper did, and that's a long, successful career. It's more than just a couple of years, good years back to back, and he had tons of them back to back. One of the things that I think endeared Chipper to Braves fans from the get-go was he was worthy of the 1-1 pick. You know, he was the first guy taken in that draft and lived up to it.
It's amazing. In the history of the Hall of Fame, there are two now, or will be two, #1 overall picks.
Isn't that crazy?
Ken Griffey Jr. and then Chipper Jones.
That is crazy.
When you talk about the inexact nature of scouting and drafting and developing, it's not like the NFL or NBA where the #1s hit all the time.
Well, because you're talking about 18-year-olds.
True.
Sometimes 17. You just don't know. They got so much growing up to do.
Aledmus Diaz, the shortstop, reached on an error and was erased on a force play. And he's going to ground to second. Hard hit ball, but Ozzy's got it. And the throw to first in time. 2 outs.
Julio's done a good job of keeping the ball down, with one exception, and that was that pitch up and away to Smoke. He's getting ground balls, maybe not as many as Stroman, who has 7 of his 9 outs by ground ball.
I've got Julio with 5 on the ground, so that's not too shabby. And Devon Travis is the Toronto second baseman. He hit into that force play his first time up. Travis, another Blue Jay that just couldn't get out of the mud offensively and was sent back to AAA for about a month to try to get on track. But he's hitting .228.
They are 14th in the league, the American League, in batting average. That's only one team below them. They're 9th in homers, 14th in stolen bases.
If I had to guess, I would say it's Kansas City that's below him for batting average.
I think you're right.
Just a wild guess.
And in that league, as we said, when your hitters don't hit and you've got the DH, you're going to have some trouble winning, especially in the AL East. And that one right down Broadway. Travis took it, and Julio has his 4th strikeout of the night. He's set down 5 straight. Albies, Freeman, and Markakis are coming up. Stroman set down 7 straight Braves. Let's see if Atlanta can pick up its first hit and run when we come back. Braves can pick up their first run and first hit. Let's check out tonight's Lowe's Whole Team Together feature. One of the exciting things about this Braves club, guys, they're not just hitting singles, they're hitting doubles, triples, and homers.
Ms. Caney, our producer tonight, tells me that those teams in 2003 and 98 both won over 100 games. Hope that is a precursor to this team. Nice posters they gave away tonight.
And the 3 Braves All-Stars are coming up here against Stroman, who has not surrendered a hit yet. Braves have 1 ball hit out of the infield. That was Acuna's fly ball to Granderson in left. That ended the second.
It's one of the few guys he's fallen behind. He walked Freddie, obviously, but everybody else he seems to get ahead in the count.
"33 hits for Albies in his last 18 games. Unbelievable. And he didn't get that one. A swing and a miss strike. Ozzy's first in doubles, first in extras, first in runs, first in total bases, second in multi-hits, tied for 3rd in hits, 7th in home runs in National League play.
If you watch Russell Martin, the first 2 pitches of this at bat, and early in the at bat in the first inning, targets at the top of the zone, trying to get him to chase upstairs.
And a shot to the right side. Beautiful play, Travis. Bad throw. And the ball ricochets around behind home plate. Albies ran through the bag and will be at first base to lead off the inning.
Now that pitch was down and away. It may have been a ball, and he still hooked it. You're going to score at a base hit.
That's a base hit. Down on your knees, tough play. Would have been bang bang if he made it.
So there goes the no-hitter for Stroman, and now he has to pitch to Freeman with a man aboard. Stroman gave Freddie almost nothing to swing at back in the first inning. What a compliment to Freddie Freeman, who earlier this year online was given a great compliment. It was said of Freddie Freeman he was criminally underappreciated. Well, Major League Baseball and Braves country in particular appreciate what he has done this year. Over 4 million votes for Freddie Freeman to make the National League All-Star team.
It's really cool.
And I said it, don't get me wrong. I know Braves country came out and voted like crazy this year. But when you're the leading vote getter, and especially Markakis too in the outfield, that's other people in the country recognizing what you're doing, not just your own hometown.
Good point.
No balls at a strike. And what Freddie's been so good at is being productive with men on base. He's our landmark always best feature. Freeman having a first half for the ages in Atlanta annals. And 7 for his last 12 at the plate. 1-1.
You were talking about Chipper a minute ago, and how many graphics do we put up talking about, I'll say, career numbers or whatever that don't include Chipper and Dale Murphy? It's like every time somebody's on there, it's along with Chipper and Dale Murphy.
Even more reason Murph should be in the Hall of Fame.
Agreed.
I asked Brian Snitker about that, a subject related to that. He said, well, there's something about hitting number 3 for the Atlanta Braves. Right?
Yes, speaking of criminally underappreciated, Dale Murphy.
Two balls, 2 strikes. And a bouncing ball hit into the shift. The backflip to the shortstop covering the bag. Ledmus Diaz is there. That forces Albies. Freeman at first for Markakis with 1 out. Well, Stroman is getting the ball on the ground. That's, as we said, his calling card. That sinking fastball is chewing up the infield dirt and grass.
Well, I told you before the game when I talked to John Gibbons, he said the 2 things he was doing this year was walking guys and getting the ball up. And tonight, Chip, you said it best. I mean, that ball is down by the knees every time right now.
His last start was against the Mets. Pitched into the 5th inning, but didn't finish it. 6 hits, 6 runs, 4 walks. Could draw a lot of close comparisons to he and Julio in recent days.
Little flare toward left. Granderson's not going to get that. So Nick Markakis with a blue pit. That gives him a 4-game hitting streak. And the Braves in business, 2 on with 1 out, and Kurt Suzuki coming up.
Oh, it's interesting. He made a really good pitch on Ozzie, and it cost him a hit. Now he makes a real good pitch on Nick, and it cost him a hit.
And you know what? When it's your year, these are the type of hits you get right here.
114 hits from Markakis. This is his 90th game. Amazing. Suzuki hit a ground ball to third and was retired to start the second. 1-0 Toronto on a smoke homer in the third. We're in the fourth. Braves down a run. Bouncing ball to third. That's fair ball. Step on the bag. Throw across is in time. And Kurt Suzuki and the Braves are doubled up. And that's the inning. Another ground ball for Stroman. He's made 1 run stand up, and he'll lead off next. At a lower price for $82.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, which lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv and take advantage of this special offer. It is the top of the 5th inning. It's brought to you by Audi. Marcus Stroman leads off, and he has a base hit.
You know, we were talking right before the inning ended with Nick. I think what's impressive is he might get 200 hits, and that's from the 4th hole. Usually your 200 hit guys are your Ichiro, Ender last year batting leadoff, Mikey Young second. You don't see a 4-hole hitter usually get 200 hits.
They're usually walking too much. They're not getting enough at bats, like a leadoff or number 2
and that's
hitter.
the thing. Nick will still take his walks. It's not like he doesn't walk at all.
A swing and a miss, and the Audi Q5 5th inning off to a good start for Tehran. That's his 5th strikeout, and he's suddenly set down 6 in a row. Back to the top of the order we go. Granderson 0 for 2. He has fly to center, And he has struck out swinging.
He had begun to heat up. He had had a real good stretch for about 6 or 8 games, but just 5 for his last 26. He's cooled off.
I'll tell you one thing about Curtis too. You'd be hard pressed to find a more genuine, nicer guy in the game of baseball than this guy.
Knows the game too.
Oh.
Curtis Granderson has 328 career homers. He led the league in homers in 2012 with the Yankees. He had 43 that year. He's big years with the Tigers early in his career as well.
He really turned into that power hitter in New York, though. And he credits Kevin Long with getting him there. He started dropping 40 a year.
He grooved that swing for that short porch. Everything middle in, down and in. He didn't miss it.
And really the porch worked for the Mets too, because really right down the right field line, comparatively speaking, yeah, it's not Yankee Stadium, but it's not some of the other bigger parks either.
2 balls, 2 strikes. For the Chicago native, Curtis Granderson, who went to the University of Illinois Chicago and graduated with a business degree, and also gave back in a big way to his alma mater. I'll explain after the pitch. Shift on for him. Ozzie 10 yards into the right field grass. The pitch is downstairs, and Granderson will take a walk.
Julio is more than miffed. Close, but no call. And 2 pitches ago, he made a real good pitch.
We talked about it, though. Corey Blazer is not giving that down pitch right now.
Yeah,
it's got to be above the knees.
So Curtis Granderson, who donated $5 million to UIC for their baseball field, leads at first base.
Wow.
The largest known one-time donation by a professional athlete. Now the home of Curtis Granderson Stadium and 38 Little League programs in Chicago.
It better be Curtis Granderson Stadium.
I hope they named him the stadium for him for that reason, if no other.
In his younger days, Curtis would run a little more frequently. Led the American League in stolen bases in 2007. He's had 3 major league years of 20 or more. He's stolen 11 bases in his last 4 big league campaigns. Not a surprise. He's 37 years old now.
Yeah, I think back in the day in Detroit, he had a couple of years, I think, where he did something like 20 triples, 20 home runs, 20 doubles, 20 stolen bases.
It's that year he stole 26 bases. Check this year out.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
1 ball, no strikes. He hit .302. 185 hits led the league. You ready? 38 doubles, 23 triples, 23 homers, 74 RBIs, and 26 stolen bases.
How many runs scored?
122.
Wow.
Goodness.
On base of 361.
What did he get in the MVP? He had to have some MVP votes that year.
In 07? Let's see. Swing and a miss. Solarte didn't get it.
With those numbers?
I've never heard of a year like that. I've heard of the 40-40 seasons for guys like Canseco and Bonds, but man, is that a lot of triples.
Yep, no mention of Granderson in the MVP race in 07.
I'd like to see what some of these other guys did that year.
He's also an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster. Curtis Granderson won an Emmy for his studio work in the early days of TBS's postseason baseball coverage.
I remember it.
1-2 pitch. He is lifted toward left. Acuna drifts toward the line and is there. There's out number 2. Justin Smoke, the batter. He's the only man to touch the plate. Here's how. A peek at StatCast powered by AWS.
Went out around a high fastball.
The look on his face, Joe, I don't think he thought he got this. I don't think it just kept going.
Yeah, just again 6 feet to the right. It's off the wall. Good placement.
But like you said, other than that, I feel like Julio's pitched a good ball game.
He's retired 7 of 8. With a man at first, 2 outs. You know the old saying, a game with which a solo home run is the only run scored. Usually you don't lose that one. Hopefully that'll be true tonight. We got to get something done against Mr. Stroman, who had a mess in the 4th inning and was helped out by a double play.
Does Smoke have it looked like an overlap grip, but almost like he had his fingers like an interlocking grip.
Chase Headley does that.
Does he?
Yep. Yeah, you can see it. He goes over that.
He's just overlapping.
He's over it, yeah.
That's the Varden grip, if I'm not mistaken, boys.
Try my golf swing like that.
Two-0 pitch. I'm guessing he'll have a green light if it's right down the middle. But we'll never know. It's outside. Ball 4. Second walk of the inning. Third walk of the game. And now Randall Grichuk will be up there with 2 on and 2 out.
You know, Joe, a lot of people ask me, who do you think has the advantage in interleague when you get the AL and NL together? I don't even think it's. The AL has the biggest advantage. You go to their park, they have a DH. For the most part, National League doesn't have a DH. And then when they come into town now like this, you got Kendry Morales on the bench who, you know, is going to be their big pinch hitter, which that's the guy that DHs usually.
They would tell you, well, yeah, we got to take him out of the lineup.
And the pitcher has to hit.
Yeah, well, and that's my point. It's not like your pitchers are hitting 290 and driving guys in.
Right. My dad always said, and I think Joe said it too, it'd be kind of fun if we're going to continue with interleague play the way it's constructed, play with the other league's rules in the home ballpark.
I do like that idea.
That way you give people a taste of it that aren't used to seeing it. Or better yet, make the American League play real baseball, which is have the pitcher have to hit.
I'd like to see 2 teams have 32 or 16 and 16 and get rid of interleague.
I'm with you.
1 ball, 1 strike.
I still say it's not fair that we play the Red Sox every year.
Well, that's something that is worth following. With the way the races in the National League are shaping up. 1 ball, 1 strike for Grichuk. And that's off the plate.
I mean, think about it. The Nats are playing the Orioles for 4 games, and we have to play the Red Sox for 4 games every year.
Every year. Or as was described to me, this second year in a row, if not more, that we've played Toronto, and they are our quote unquote natural rival.
Swing and a miss. Well, if you look at the divisional races and the records out west, Arizona, Dodgers, Giants, Milwaukee, Cubs, Atlanta, Philly, Washington, you may have to win the East to get into postseason play this year. The big advantage is the NL Central's playing the AL Central, as this one's hit high in the air toward right center field. Ender and Markakis converge. Nick is there to make the play, and we'll expand on that when the Braves come up in the 5th inning. Still 1-0, Toronto in front. Things started for the Braves. He got things started when Atlanta was in Toronto, you might recall. And Camargo has been one of the more productive Braves hitters since the 1st of June. He's our Yellowwood bringing the lumber feature tonight.
You know, he just kind of quietly goes about his business. Not a lot of fanfare, although the people in Toronto would tell you different after he hit that gigantic grand slam home run at the Rogers Center. Great numbers there over his last 3 weeks. Just keeps plugging right along.
And that's exactly what Stroman has been done. Jared Burleson, our great stat man upstairs, has an incredible number. Stroman's thrown more than 10 pitches in 1 inning. The Braves have not had a single at bat of more than 5 pitches. That's why he's at 43 tosses through 4 complete innings tonight.
He hasn't, I don't think he's thrown that many curveballs. It's that sinker, and it looks like strikes. He's throwing it around the plate. That's why the guys are offering and why they're hitting a lot of stuff off the end of the bat and into the ground.
And he's sticking with that pitch right now. It's working, so he keeps coming with it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Would this be a guy that Toronto would move? Marcus Stroman?
For the right price.
There's a breaking ball, went right through Russell Martin.
Even he's shaking his head.
So Granderson finished 10th that year in MVP. A-Rod won it. You want to know his numbers? 314, 54 home runs, 156 RBIs, and a 422 on base percentage.
Okay. Ground ball hit toward first. Stroman will get to the bag ahead of Camargo. And there's the first out.
Stroman is signed through this year. He'll be a free agent at the end of the season.
Well,
really?
The reason I bring that up
already?
is.
I thought he's only got.
I beg your pardon. No.
Yeah, he's got 2 more years.
Yeah, he's got this. He's already passed his 4-year mark. It'll be a 1.5 years. So the end of.
And I think he's a Super 2. So I think you actually have 2.5 years. Now it'll be a high price at the end, but still, you're talking about control for a guy for 2.5 years. The question is that you said, does Toronto want to sell low right now?
Well, everybody needs pitching.
You're right.
And if he's pitching like this in this park, who better to pitch like that than in front of his former general manager, Alex Anthopoulos, and his staff, who knew Stroman well from their days together in Toronto. I'm not saying anything like that is going to happen, but this is as good as it gets from Marcus Stroman tonight. He's got a 2-hit shutout working, and he leads thanks to the smoke homer. I mean, what would this guy bring back? What would DeGrom and Syndergaard bring back? 2 balls and a strike.
Well, you give me a Christmas wish list, I'm putting Jacob deGrom #1.
No doubt.
And #2.
Put him under the tree.
And #3.
Yeah.
Who was it? Freddie who said that earlier this year, I think.
Yeah.
I'll trade the whole team.
Trade the organization.
Well, the Phillies are hammering the Mets 7-1 tonight. Washington and the Pirates, no score in the third. Another ground ball back to the mound. And Stroman's going to win the assist title for Major League pitchers at this rate in Atlanta tonight. Another comebacker, 2 quick outs.
King in his court.
That's 4 assists, 1 putout. And 2 outs for Dansby, who had a comebacker of his own back in the 3rd inning. Dansby had 9 hits on the road trip. And enters play tonight, hitting .246 for the year.
Breaking out all his moves on Dansby.
Yes.
Nothing is straight, is it?
Well, and it's not at 85 miles an hour either. That was 92. Right at the bottom of the zone.
This is a guy I've come to watch the last 2 years. This is the Marcus Stroman we're seeing tonight.
Now the 1-2 pitch is taken low.
He had a great partial year when he first got called up. He won 11 games. The next year he went 4-0, but he tore up his knee. Missed the rest of the season. Last year he was 9-10, or 2 years ago 9-10, and then last year 13-9.
But in this day and age of baseball, he's becoming the rarest of all pitching species. A guy that can go 200 innings in back-to-back years. He won't make it this year.
I remember you talked about it the year he went 9-10. I think he had a huge playoff. Couple huge playoff games he pitched.
And Dansby's aboard with a 2-out walk. And that'll bring Tehran to the plate. At the very least, the Braves will clear their pitcher.
And the 9-10 year was 2016. And that year against
they
Baltimore.
went to the ALCS, right?
Yeah, he started a game in the wild card game. He gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, no decision. Then that year in the league championship series against Cleveland, made 1 start. He took the loss in that one. And he's also pitched in the World Baseball Classic for the U.S. But another thing is his shoulder. It had him on the disabled list for almost 6 weeks. That would scare a lot of teams right now, even though he's pitching great tonight.
No balls and a strike. And Julio puts it in play, and he shoots one to right field. So the hits are even by the starting pitchers tonight. And the 2-out walk could cost Stroman dearly. A hit by Julio to right field brings up Ender Inciarte in a 1-0 game.
4th hit of the year. And a good swing on a pitch that was left up. At least if he's going to make a mistake, he's going to make it to the pitcher, who takes advantage.
And you saw him running out of the box. You saw that right fielder right there.
Did you ever throw anybody out?
I did. 2 guys. My favorite one was out in Oakland, though. I threw out a guy, and it was would have been his 2nd major league hit.
Oh. Pitch.
At least it wasn't his first. Would have been his first. I remember I ran right by him. He looked at me. He's like, "Are you kidding me?"
That's what happened to Brandon Beachy. I think it was in Houston.
It was.
A base hit to right, and they threw him, or would have been a base hit to right. They threw him out at first base.
You know, that ground in Oakland so hard because it was football season. It just came to me so quick.
No balls and a strike for Ender. And he didn't get it. 0-2. Braves had 2 on 1 out in the 4th inning. A 5-3 double play got Stroman out of trouble. So the 2nd inning in a row, the Braves have put 2 men aboard. Pickoff play and a close play. Diaz thought Toronto should take a look. And they will.
This is where it's, to me, it's not even close. Every time they throw it, you know, someone tells them to look.
It's DeMarlo Hale on the phone with the Blue Jays replay center.
Let's see.
So Ender behind 0-2, 2 on, 2 out. And strike 3, caught him looking over the inside corner. Enciarte 0 for 3. The Braves strand their 3rd and 4th runner of the night, and we go to the 6th.
Is on Nick Markakis. Now our right fielder has played the most games, had the most hits, and the most doubles in Major League history before being named to his first All-Star game. And one of the most special things about seeing this is the reactions from his current and former teammates and how excited they've been to see Nick Markakis play in that first All-Star game. And one of his former teammates, Adam Jones, a 5-time All-Star, found a way to put it into perfect words. He says, finally and long overdue. Man, I'm so happy right now, like a kid in a candy store. And I spoke to Nick Markakis before the game about how much it means to him to see all of these impacts that he's made on people. And he said, you know, I told myself when I was younger and I had veterans lead the way that if I ever had the opportunity, I would do the same thing. And guys, I think it's simple to say he has definitely done that.
Kelsey, you talk to anybody in that Baltimore organization, whether it's teammates, manager, coaches, whatever, you get nothing but the highest praise for Nick and the way he goes about his business. And he always plays hard and he always hustles.
And the first pitch popped up toward Nick Markakis from Russell Martin. Julio gets the first out of the 6th inning.
Yeah, it says something to me when you got teammates 4 years later who are writing things like that. That's all you need to know.
Here's Kevin Pillar. He's 0 for 2 tonight and just 5 hits in his last 30 at bats. That has been an all too familiar refrain for many of these Toronto hitters. And a pop right to the center of the diamond. Who wants it? And it'll be be Johan Camargo who takes over. Good play. There's the second quick out.
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them.
Aledmus Diaz is the shortstop. He's 0 for 2 and 4 for his last 25. Toronto leads 1-0 on a smoke homer in the third inning. Braves will have Albies, Freeman, and Markakis coming up again in the home half of this sixth. And a strike.
He doesn't have as many strikeouts. He's got 5, which is 5 through 5 innings. But he's pitching like he did in that start in St. Louis. Good stuff. Good velocity, good slider.
Yeah, he doesn't look tired. He looks well rested tonight.
And a start like this is welcome respite for the bullpen, even with the day off yesterday. During the road trip, it was a real challenge for the Braves to get more than 5 innings of work from any of their starters not named Anibal Sanchez.
And this also allows you, with him throwing tonight, if you want to throw him Sunday, you can.
And Sunday a day game against Arizona before the All-Star break. He's carving corners so far in game 1. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Right off his thumbs and into the second deck. Nice crowd tonight for this opener with Toronto.
I'd say it's about 36-5.
That's your guess?
Yep.
Wow. There's a whole lot of people here.
Little tapper over the mound. Dansby charges, gloves, grabs, guns, got him by a step.
31-2.
31-2 for Joe.
What do you got?
I'll say 34-7-96. We'll see who's right a little later on. Give him a lead. Atlanta's been shut out on 3 hits by Marcus Stroman through 5 innings. Ozzie Albies is our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot feature. Let's see if he can hit the jackpot leading off this inning tonight.
Yeah, his infield hit tonight makes it 19 straight that he's reached base.
And a 7-game hitting streak. And Stroman goes to work. Just good cut.
Did you see where Shin-Soo Choo broke a Rangers record for reaching? It's like 46 games.
Really?
And was held by Julio Franco.
Is that right?
Really?
Wow.
I tell you, he's had a couple rough years, and I didn't realize it until I saw the other day. He's put together a great year this year.
He's an all-star, I believe.
He is.
Yeah.
Bunt try. It's going to stay on the grass. Bunt hit for Ozzie.
Wow, thank you, Solarte.
Things started to look like it was going to go foul there.
If it gets off the grass, it's going to have a little momentum getting to the line.
I think you can see Stroman there too. Look at him. You see him put his hands out.
Right.
I think he's thinking, what are you doing? See, look, that thing's curving.
Sure was. Oh, that was going to come off that grass. Again, thank you very much. No reason to pick that one up. Good bunt.
So as a penalty, they'll make Solarte move over and head into the shift for Freddie Freeman with nobody out. Freddie's walked and hit into a force play. And high and tight, ball one.
Stroman's only pitched once against the Braves, but again, it was good work. Gave up some hits, 5 2/3 innings, 7 hits, but no runs.
Well, the Braves have had base runners now in the 4th, 5th, here in the 6th. Time for them to take advantage of it. Braves are now out hit Toronto 4-3. The smoke homer, the decisive blow to this point. Two balls, no strikes, and fouled away.
Between innings, Julio looked like he was trying to make a case to go back out. He's thrown 100 pitches. Looks like he feels good, but he was making his case to Chuck and to Snit to stay in.
If his turn doesn't come up, I think you'll see him go out. After that quick inning like that, I think Snit, it's one of those things, you know, like you talk about is, hey, we'll go batter by batter.
Well, they'll have the 8, 9, and 1 hitters up for Toronto in the 7th. As Freddie takes low, ball 3.
And I know he was sick, like you said, but he's been home, well rested for 5 days. He's probably thinking, let me go.
Look how efficient the Toronto starter has been. Just 70 pitches. But a dangerous one right here. And laced out a play, full count.
Did I hear correctly that there's some fireworks after the game tonight too to commemorate the All-Stars?
You are correct. Full count pitch. Ozzie's running, and it's fouled away at the plate.
Freddie had a real funny swing at a 3-2 count.
It looked like a little slider.
Slider or cutter. I couldn't tell. Started in as slider.
You don't see him take too many swings like that.
No. That had some real good bite to it. And again, he hasn't thrown his slider much in recent starts because of his shoulder. That was a good one.
Again, Ozzie runs. Freeman swings and misses. Martin's throw is not in time. And again, Toronto might take a look at the play at second base. Albies the steal for the moment. Freeman down on strikes. 1 man down.
I think he got in. He looked like he got that hand down right before he tagged him on top.
Well, slider down and in, fastball up and away, struck out Freddie.
Yep.
High throw, tag on the elbow. Yeah, no contest. Are you going to check it? No.
Nah. You can tell how much stuff Marcus Stroman's stuff's been moving, because you don't see Freddie swing at ball 4 twice. Rarely do you see that.
Well, over reliable Nick Markakis is up. A hit could mean a run. Nick dumped a single into left field for his first hit tonight. It was the second Braves hit in the game. They have but 4. And he took a strike. off the pitcher's glove, and Stroman saved a run. If he doesn't get leather on that, we're tied. Instead, Stroman, who's been everywhere defensively, holds Albies at third base. That's a big second out.
Well, again, he was a second baseman in college. Got out of the way, but left the glove there. And you're right, Chip. That's a base hit and an RBI. Man.
That's one of those that they say that the bloops and the hard hits even out.
Uh-huh.
Still don't believe it, though.
I never did. Because I never got any bloops.
Well, here's Suzuki. He's played catch with Solarte at third base. He is 0 for 2.
Yeah, the bloops kept me afloat. Kept me hanging around.
So Russell Martin wants to talk over this situation with Stroman. I invite you to stay tuned for the middle of the 7th inning. It's the stretch brought to you by Synovus, the bank of here. You've got Camargo on deck, Suzuki in the box. You know Kurt can hit a fastball. Camargo has pulled the ball twice to Smoke and waits on deck. So that'll be a mound visit for the Blue Jays. As Julio Teheran awaits his fate in a 1-0 game, home 6th. How about a center cut fastball? Bouncing ball, and he got it. Base hit.
There you go.
So Suzuki picks up Freeman and Markakis. The game is tied. A 2-out hit, something the Braves have done all year long. Their 177th 2-out run scored this season.
There's two things on this that I like. A, Solarte picked up that bunt that allowed Ozzie to reach. And two, they just had a meeting on the mound. And what they discussed was not throwing one down the middle about letter high. It looked like a backup slider almost.
And I'll tell you what I really like, Joe and Chip, is you look at that right there. Last time Kurt gets jammed, first pitch, rolls over one. He's got the ability and confidence right now to go back up there and say, you know, a lot of people, oh, I'm going to take a pitch. You know, I don't want to swing at 2 first pitches in a row. And I think you saw him. The reason why he's so darn good is he knew where it was, got it, tied the ball game.
Snapped a 0 for 15 with that RBI hit, and it was a big one.
So now the biggest decision in the game might rest on the shoulders of Brian Snitker. He has Jesse Biddle loosening in the pen. Julio's thrown 100 pitches, and the game is tied. No balls, 2 strikes. And Camargo didn't offer it that high. Cheese, 1-2 the count.
Well, the fact that Julio has that towel still wrapped on his arm to me means he's going out.
You've got Travis, then the pitcher spot in the 7th inning for the Blue Jays. The 1-2 pitch. Got him inside corner. Camargo tried to spin out of the way. And Stroman strikes out his 4th man. A bunt single and a fastball to Suzuki that turns into the game tying run. We go to the 7th. versus Tehran in game 1.
Pretty even stuff through there. Julio's walked 3, Stroman 2. They've got about the same number of strikeouts. They've both pitched well, but now locked in a tie.
Devin Travis leads off. He's the Toronto second baseman. He has bounced out and struck out. Julio set down 4 straight. Nobody in the on-deck circle yet, although Stroman is making his way there now as he puts his batting gloves on. Most pitches for Julio this year, pardon me, Joe, is 109. That one's tapped foul.
It may have had something to do with him going out, too. It's the bottom part of the order. Pitcher spot. Don't know if Stroman was going to hit, but.
Well, I think Snit watched him last inning, too, and said he doesn't look like he's leaking oil at all.
He doesn't to me.
And this is why I love the National League right here, because John Gibbons has to make a choice here to put Marcus Stroman, who I get it can hit, but he's not a position player hitter. Whereas in the American League, you just run them out there until they can.
And keep rolling.
And here it's the 7th. It's getting late in the ball game.
And if they get the lead, the same situation applies for Gibbons as applies to Brian Snitker. The Braves will have their 7, 8, and 9 hitters coming up. To first, Freddie Freeman scoops that up and gets his man, 1 out. 5 straight retired by Julio. And 12 of his last 13. Excuse me, 12 of his last 14.
Well, I told you, Joe, I was talking to Gibby before the game today, and he was cracking me up because he said, you know, he's got a great personality. And he said, well, yeah, I enjoy actually the National League because I can't just put the lineup and sleep for 7 innings. It's like I actually got to pay attention to what's going on here tonight.
Well, this is not John Gibbons' first go-round in Toronto. As that one's cut on and missed. He was the manager of the Blue Jays 2003 through 2008. Then came back to the big league club to manage them in 2013, and he's been there ever since. That's hit to the left side. Dansby's got it. Gloves and fires to first in time. And Stroman is the second out. Hope you'll stay tuned for the 7th inning stretch presented by Synovus, the Bank of Here.
I wonder if it was one of those things where when they let him go the first time, they said, well, who are you going to hire? Kind of like Ted Turner said about Bobby Cox. Well, just fired Bobby. I'd like to have somebody like Bobby.
Well, I'd like to have somebody like Julio Tehran pitching every 5th day just like this. He was outstanding tonight. He leaves in a 1-1 tie. Top of the order coming up after 6 2/3. Great work tonight. Over their notes after Julio's work tonight. 6 2/3 innings. Braves make a pitching change brought to you by Old Dominion, the official freight carrier of Major League Baseball.
Tell you what, this guy's been carrying the freight He's been doing a tremendous job. Only 1 run allowed in his last 8 outings. And one of those was a 3-inning stint on the road trip, 2 innings, and got the win at New York, 2 innings against Milwaukee, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts.
And it won't be against Curtis Granderson, but Teoscar Hernandez will come on and pinch hit. And Joe, you were marveling at what this guy was doing before the game.
This is one of those guys that was having fun. He was hitting home runs to every part of the ballpark just to see if he could, and he did. He was hitting balls in the trees in center field, hitting them in the bullpens, hitting them in the chop house. It was like he was sizing up. Let's see, where have I not hit one?
But as we say, it's easy to be a 5 o'clock hitter.
Yeah, well, he's got 13 jacks.
He does.
So he ain't bad at
No,
7:30
you're
either.
right.
Isn't it funny, though, how the book is interpreted by managers? Jesse Biddle is the master of the reverse splits. Left-handed hitters have 14 hits in 42 tries. That's a .333 mark. Righties are 9 for 75 and a .120 average. And instead of Granderson, the left-hand hitter, the Jays go with Hernandez here.
Sometimes they'll tell you that there's not enough book on them. You know, I think that's probably the thing here. I get it. I mean, that's a big margin, but as Joe said, to this guy's defense, he does have 13 jacks.
Yeah. Hey, he knows his team better than anybody.
I think you're not
here.
replacing him with a. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Replacing him with a slap hitter. How's that?
Okay. Well, Hernandez 244 against lefties. Granderson 118. So it's the logical move, but the splits are going to hold, and that will take care of Hernandez and Toronto. The Braves get him in order. Time for the stretch. Time for Atlanta to take the lead. It's a 1-1 game against the Jays.
Welcome to
and Jerome. Snell in the American League and Aguilar in the National League. Aguilar hit another home run last night in Miami. Those two guys deserve to go.
And I agree, they deserve to go. Aguilar, you're at a tough position at first base. Snell, for me, how does that happen?
I don't know.
How are you 12-4 and lead the American League in ERA? That's insane. And like I said, he doesn't deserve to be a replacement of someone starting on Sunday.
I was listening to MLB Network Radio today as Acuna leads off, 1 ball, 1 strike. And somebody made the point that the real sad part of it is Number one, Snell's probably going to get added to the American League team, but the fact that he's not announced and is so deservingly an obvious candidate to make the team the day the awards are announced. I know that when you look at the guy's bio, it doesn't say, well, he was added because player A got injured.
But players know that. Players know that.
Right. And that's what I was going to ask you. That's the saddest part, is that he won't get his just reward on the day where everybody else found out they were making the All-Star team.
Absolutely. You saw all these guys, first-year guys, Contreras, other guys crying, calling their parents. And for him not to get to experience that with what he did, I don't know what the players. I like. Who was it? What player? Someone called out.
It was Chris Archer.
Chris Archer, his teammate. Yeah. Called out everybody and said, well, I mean, you know, you need to take this serious, or at least know what the heck's going on.
Dansby with one out. Interesting game tonight. Toronto's run came on a homer. The Braves' run started by a bunt that was fielded and may have rolled foul. Albee stole second. Suzuki with 2 outs. A base hit brought him home. If Solarte doesn't field that ball, we won't know. Maybe they get Albies, and maybe the Braves don't have a run.
That was another wicked slider from Stroman that was cued right off the end of the bat by Dansby.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Stroman throw a nice second half together if he's feeling healthy.
Well, if he pitches like this, I can promise you the Yankees and the Red Sox in the East aren't going to want to run into him.
Yeah. Well, he's only 27. Again, 5'8", 180.
And he's obviously smart. He went to Duke.
Yeah.
One ball, 2 strikes. And a line drive into center for Dansby. A 2-strike hit for him. And Ryan Flaherty is going to come up. So Dansby a 1-for-2 night.
Joe, is someone catching feelings up here in the booth about Duke, North Carolina?
Yeah. Yeah. Cutting a little too close to home up here for some stat people.
Having a rough time.
Good job by Dansby not missing that hanger.
Yeah, Stroman, a sociology major.
That's what I was going to major in.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the most antisocial person I know. How would that work?
Well, I think it's fitting that I was going to Clemson. I was going to, you know, now that I'm a blueberry farmer,
that's
agriculture.
Right. Go ahead, run aboard with 1 out. We're in the home 7.
Ryan had a big pinch hit in Milwaukee, drove in a run on Saturday.
Coming into action tonight, did you know that Ryan Flaherty's the Brave that has seen Stroman the most? 11 career at bats, 3 hits, including a homer. So that's a logical move by Brian Snitker here, not to mention a left-hand bat. And the pitch. Runner goes. Ground ball hit to second. Sending the runner, keeps out of the double play, and Ender will have another crack to bring home Dansby Swanson, but this chance comes with 2 outs.
Hit and run play.
Yeah, I like that call right
Love it.
Even though Flaherty didn't get a base hit on it, you're at least a base hit away now from taking the lead.
Sure thing. Pulls it just a little bit. He's in business, 1st and 3rd. But job 1 is put the ball in play and protect your runner.
Ender 0 for 3 tonight, has yet to get the ball out of the infield. Let's see what he can do with 2 outs. And Martin a nice stab. 1 ball, no strikes. Mets try to come back. They trail the Phillies 7-3. That game's late at Citi Field. Nationals lead the Pirates 2-0 5th inning at PNC Park. Brewers 5, Miami 4 late in Miami. Arizona and the Rockies are tied 1 apiece. As are the Braves in the home 7th. Sharply hit. Smoke, a nice play at first, and that will retire the side. Smoke saved a run with a good backhanded stab. We go to the 8th, where the 2, 3, 4 hitters are up for Toronto.
It's now time for our T-Mobile Hats Off for Heroes. A.J. Minter, we've seen the great work that he has done on the mound. Well, his brother is doing great work as well. His brother Aaron was just deployed 2 weeks ago to Korea, where he is a U.S. Army Apache helicopter pilot. So you guys, very special, very close to A.J. Minter's heart. He always finds ways to honor him, and a very emotional thing for him to talk about, just 2 weeks being deployed. So our best to his brother Aaron.
Great story, Kelsey. Thank you very much. And A.J. Minter has become a great story. He's on a tremendous roll over the last 16 games he's pitched, guys. And Joe, I think the biggest difference for me with A.J., strike one and not ball three.
No kidding. His work on the road trip was awesome. 2 in St. Louis, 1 in New York, 1 in Milwaukee. 4 innings total, 1 hit, shutout ball, only 1 walk in that stretch with 7 strikeouts.
Well, a tough inning ahead for him here. Solarte, Smoke, and Grichuk for Toronto. And that off the plate, ball 1.
But what makes it a nightmare to face a guy like AJ? And, you know, my specialty was hitting lefties. And if a lefty's not throwing strikes and it's 2-0 and he's throwing 97, you can cheat. And even if it's a cutter, you still get the head out of the bat. But when it's 0-1, 1-2, 2-2, you can't be cheating. And with the kind of stuff he has, he'll just blow you up.
He has options, not necessarily in a lot of different pitches, but locations.
Absolutely. And when you throw a cutter at 93, a lot of times you just throw it. Doesn't have to necessarily all the time be in or the perfect pitch.
Margot hugging the line at third for Solarte in the box. The pitch. And Powder River for a strike at 96 miles an hour.
I don't think Solarte liked that one.
That was not as good a pitch as the first pitch.
Yeah,
that was called a ball.
Might have been a makeup.
Could be.
That's hit to short, and Dansby with the backhand can't come up with it. So a real rare night for Atlanta, which has been so good defensively on the infield. 2 errors for the left side, 1 by Camargo, 1 by Swanson, and the leadoff man is on to start the 8th.
Must have been something in the water tonight.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about playing infield, Joe, but I would imagine on that one, if Dansby had to do it again, he probably could have just got in front of it and thrown him out.
Well, he had a little more time, I think, than he probably
Solarte is
expected.
not fast.
No.
Other guys I understand. And he's been so good at that, too.
Yeah.
Lourdes Gurriel is the pinch runner for Toronto. And now Smoke will turn around and hit right-handed. With a man aboard, nobody out. Let's see if Minter can get another ground ball here. That was wicked. Swing and a miss.
See, that's a pitch right there where it's 93 cutter, Joe, and he's trying to bum rush a fastball, Smoke, right there at 97, 98. And so he missed it by that much. Now he's in a situation where he still hasn't seen 98, and he really didn't see the cutter because he just tried to swing through it.
As a right-hand hitter, Smoke batting .276. That's his higher average size or side. Smoke with 3 of his 12 homers right-handed. Only 98 right-handed at bats for the Toronto first baseman. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pretty pitch.
At 98. And this is what you're talking about now, Jeff, is that he has no choice but to look for the fastball. He has to.
In your mind right now, you're not feeling very confident.
Nope. That was a good try.
That was. And this is a situation to me, it's where when I was hitting, it was almost like you knew a guy like Minter was going to have to make a mistake for you to be able to get a hit or have success. If he made the pitch he wants to make, there's a good chance you're out.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And that got away from Freeman. That's going to be another error.
Charging the error to Freddie. Not catching it.
So 1 at first, short and third tonight. And now Gurriel with a big lead at second and a 2-2 pitch. And it's fouled back.
And I feel like when AJ is going to be able to take that step as a closer type guy like a Billy Wagner or something is when he can start hitting that outside corner with what he has at 98. He's going to almost be unhittable.
Foul ball will do it again.
Smoke may have pounded that off his foot.
I think he did. See, this is where I think as AJ matures, Joe, as I said, working that outside corner, not so much with a fastball, but the idea of 93 backdoor cutter, you got no chance.
Eleventh pitch coming up for AJ here. 2-2 won't be made as Gurriel, a native of Cuba, has the lead at second base. He and his brother Unieski were part of the national team in Cuba and defected. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Good try, didn't get it.
The right call.
Probably.
Tough pitch to take, though.
Grichuk on deck. First, the payoff pitch for Smoke. And he popped it up. Freddie's going to make this catch. And there's the first out.
Sometimes, like on that pitch before, that at 98 that just missed inside, it's not a good take, You just had no shot.
Yeah.
You're just fortunate that it was a ball.
See, watch right here. There you talk about he missed on the outside corner right there. I know he wasn't trying.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking in, and then you get a ball down the middle to the outside corner at 98, that's the only thing you can do with it.
You're just reaching for it.
And so that's what I said. As he matures and starts to learn how to hit that outside corner, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Grichuk 0 for 2 with a walk. Gurriel at second, 1 out now. And taken high. One more note on Gurriel. After he defected, he agreed to a contract with the Yokohama Bay Stars in the Japanese League. Didn't play in any games there, was placed on the restricted list, was declared a free agent in August 2 years ago. There was a showcase for his skills at Rod Carew Stadium, attended by 60 major league scouts. This guy was one of the most highly sought after international players. And then Toronto signed him to a 7-year major league contract. November of 2016. Lourdes Gurriel, who stands at second base. 2-0. Richard didn't get it. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, I know his brother was a huge piece of the Astros last year.
Sure was.
Good hit.
But they're very high on this guy. Obviously, they wouldn't have given him that kind of deal, especially a major league contract. I remember when we were up in Toronto earlier, they just called him back up and talked about his hands, how smooth he was, and how it was not going to be any time at all before he was an everyday guy.
And they've got more coming in their system. At their AA club, New Hampshire, they have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They have Bo Bichette, who plays shortstop, and they have Kevin Biggio, all on that same AA team. 2 balls and a strike. And high.
Did he offer?
That's some star power right there.
Mm-hmm.
Got the catcher on deck, a base open, the 3-1 pitch, and it's a high strike. 3-2.
That's another one, Joe, that ball's down the middle to the outer part, and your eye level's just not used to that.
No.
You think he's thinking in, and that's one of those back door that you said when he learns to throw that, oh my.
Little flare into center field, a base hit. Gurriel held up for a moment, and he'll have to be held at third. So Gurriel did a pirouette at second base as that ball sailed past him into center field, and with a runner at second, they get the base hit, but can't score the run, and the double play is still in order. But now they're at the corners with 1 out.
Went upstairs, and he's able to fight it off.
That's not very good base running right there, I'll tell you that.
No, you got to get a better read than that. That was a break
you
for
know
Atlanta.
where those guys are right there. And AJ's the type of guy that high strikeout guy, double play candidate right here. Make one good pitch and you're out of this inning.
Russell's hitting to 4 double plays in his 192 at bats coming into play tonight. He's 0 for 3. But now in a spot where a fly ball of depth could put Toronto in front.
Not too successful at this, but not too many opportunities either. Good first pitch, got ahead. AJ's in the driver's seat.
1 strike pitch. Line drive, a base hit, and Toronto's in front. So the Jays cash in a couple of errors. Russell Martin with a run scoring hit, and it's 2-1 here in the top of the 8th.
Just his 17th RBI of the year. Oh, that was a hanger. The cutter that came out of his hand kind of funny. It was just a spinner.
So here's Pilar 0 for 3. Double play still in order for him. 2 errors, a pop out, and back-to-back singles. Has Toronto in front 2-1. And a strike. Pilar coming off a disappointing homestand for the Blue Jays. He had just 5 hits in 28 at-bats. And he's behind 0-2. Pilar lives in Woodland Hills, California. He was an All-American center fielder at California State University in Carson. He was a math major. And he'll back out as time called. Last year, Pilar 37 doubles. Hit .256 and scored 72 runs.
Saved about that many too with his defensive work.
Way high. These are the kinds of stories you love reading about. We talked about #1 picks and how rare they are to get to Cooperstown. Well, there aren't too many 32nd round picks in a draft that come out and have the kind of career that Pilar's had. And the runner tries to steal third. The throw is high and safe. Grichuk takes off, steals third base. Martin didn't follow him to second. Double play still in order, but now a fly ball could give Toronto an insurance run.
This has been happening too frequently. Braves pitchers are not giving second looks to the guys at second. And a veteran player like Grichuk, he's going to read that and get a good jump, which he did. And AJ never looked back.
The 2-2. And a ground ball right side. That's through for a hit. Grichuk scores. Martin got ahead of steam. He's around second, and he'll stand at third. So this inning getting uglier by the moment. Atlanta with a couple of errors gave Toronto 1 run. They've earned their second with 3 straight singles. And after 25 pitches, Brian Snitker pondering the fate of A.J. Minter. Braves bullpen has begun to throw, and Snitker looking out toward right center, and here comes the Atlanta manager.
Yeah, another mistake on the cutter.
He's just missing up with the cutter right now.
Well, A.J. deserves a better fate. An error at short, an error at first, and then 3 straight hits gives Toronto a 3-1 advantage in game 1.
By Experience, Delta Airlines, and by your local Ford dealer.
Still a manageable game, but you got to put out the fire right here. Shane Carl will be assigned that task. Toronto has scored twice, 3 hits, 2 errors, a stolen base, and Shane's starting to round into form. Joe, he's had some good luck pitching multiple innings.
Yeah, the 2 outings prior to his effort in Milwaukee were not very good, but he came in relief of Max Fried, who had the blister problem, and he pitched 3 innings. And he retired 9 up and 9 down. And I think hopefully that will get him back where he wants to be and more like the guy we saw at the beginning of the year.
Aledmys Diaz is the shortstop. He's grounded out twice. He's reached on an error. 3 errors for Atlanta tonight.
All on the infield, too. That's
very unusual.
Real rarity.
Runner at first goes and poked down a play foul. Pilar had an excellent jump.
Yeah, you talk about pitchers for us holding on the Blue Jays. I think it's one thing too is that, you know, the Blue Jays in years past were station to station, hit bombs, get a guy on, hit bombs, and you know they're different now. You look at Pilar, you look at Grichuk, you look at Hernandez now, Travis. You know these guys, they're not the boppers that they had. They're going to try to put the ball in play and run the bases. It's just a different Blue Jays team than you usually see.
No balls and a strike.
Well, Pilar by far has the most in the lineup tonight with 11. Nobody else had more than 2 coming into the game.
Again he goes, and again a shot the other way. Toronto is going to take a 4-1 lead, and Pilar runs through the stop sign at third base, and he'll score standing up. A 2-base hit for Aledmys Diaz. And Toronto has scored 4 times in the 8th inning.
Tell you what they've done tonight, this inning, another hanging breaking ball, is they've taken that the other way. Last couple of 3 hitters, they've done some really good situational hitting.
Again, a team that's hitting .236 on the year doesn't look like it in the late innings tonight. 4 runs are in the 8th. It's a 5-1 Jays lead. And Devin Travis swings and misses. 0-1 to him. So all
big
4
innings
runs belong to Minter.
Man, big innings are killing the Braves.
Boy, I tell you, coming into this inning, I actually felt like we'd kind of gained control back of this game.
Me too.
And we had them on the ropes. Now you see Kendry Morales come out on deck.
It's a nice weapon to save, like you said earlier.
The 0-2 pitch. Well, to your point, Joe, about big innings, last 7 games, the Braves have 6 innings defensively where the opponents have scored 3 or more runs. And 4 across here in an 8th inning that's gone a little too long for the home crowd's liking. It all started with an error at short. And now 4 straight Toronto hits. 0-2 is hammered toward left. Acuna on the run, not going to get it. That's going to bounce into the bullpen. That'll be a double, and that'll score another run.
Five straight hits. Change up.
So it will be Kendrys Morales Morales hit a home run off Anibal Sanchez up at the Rogers Center. And Morales will be the 8th man to hit in the 8th inning, and he won't be allowed to. The Braves will walk him and go to the top of the order. And Teoscar Hernandez.
I see John Gibbons going down in the dugout down there. I wonder if he's trying to get a pitcher or somebody to pinch run for Morales.
Could be.
He's had some leg problems.
Wondering if anybody's got a
got cleats on?
Yeah.
You're right. I think he is.
So Marcus Stroman in line to win this game. He went 7 innings, a run, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, and just a couple of walks. He was the real deal tonight. He was throwing ground ball after ground ball. Broken bat might be 2. There's 1, there's 2, and the inning mercifully comes to an end. 9 come to the plate, 5 score. The floodgates open with a couple of Atlanta errors.
New York City, where Philadelphia scored early and scored often against the Mets. Miguel Franco early in this game, a 3-run home run, also added an RBI single. Odubel Herrera went deep as well. The Phillies, unfortunately, fellas, win this game to put the pressure on Atlanta. 7-3 the final.
Yeah, the pressure's on if the Braves want to hang on to their share of first place. Jerome, Atlanta has not been out of first place since May the 1st, when they were only a half game behind the Phillies. Philadelphia taking advantage of a softer part of their schedule. Unfortunately, guys, though, for the Braves, know about the 5-5 road trip. They had that 2-4 homestand with Baltimore and Cincinnati, and now they're in danger of falling to the 41-48 Blue Jays in the first game of 2 here at SunTrust. Aledmys Diaz takes over at third base. Gurriel stays in at shortstop. Aaron Loop is the pitcher and delivers a strike.
Freddie Freeman and Aaron Loop have some history.
Yeah. Let's hope it doesn't repeat. It was Loop that broke his hand last year. .42nd appearance for Loop, who's wild again. 2 balls and a strike. Toronto a little short-handed at the end of the game. Ryan Tepera, who was closing games for them, is out with an elbow. They're also without Roberto Osuna. Osuna, their closer, who has been suspended for 75 games by Major League Baseball, part of the domestic violence situation. He could return to the big leagues August 5th. And we are told that at least the newspapers in Toronto say that the Jays will welcome him back once he has served that 75 game penalty. That does not, however, mean he's out of the woods. There's still legal proceedings that have yet to be determined.
Well, the best thing that could happen for him is to get a lifetime ban, and he could be right back in a year, you know?
Yeah, good point.
Like Henry Mejia.
How does that happen?
3-2 pitch. And a ground ball up the middle. There's a start for Atlanta. A leadoff single. Ozzie with a 3-hit night. Guys, he is as hot as any Brave has been all year all of a sudden. That gives him 36 hits in his last 19 games.
And that was a good job right there going back up the middle, because he had just threw about 4 balls that almost took his ankles out every single time, and he still stayed with it. Good swing.
Real good. He is a pleasure to watch. Now that thing with Mejia, 3-time loser on drugs, gets banned for life, and they decide, well, we'll give him another chance. What does that say to Pete Rose or anybody else that's been banned for life?
That was my first thought, was the Pete Rose.
Yeah. That is unconscionable by the commissioner's office. I was off by 500.
You were 31,747. Joe wins the attendance game tonight.
Good job, Joe.
Got to count them. Can't just guess.
Yeah, that might be the closest margin yet. 547 off. As this one's out of play, foul. Back to that suspension. I'm a little worried about one more important thing. For guys like Mejia, they're going to have to change the 7th inning stretch song, because it's no longer 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out. It's now 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
You've been thinking of that one for a while, haven't you?
Well, when you sing the song, you got all the words, man. The pitch is cut on and missed. Freeman's down on strikes, 1 on, 1 out.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's one thing 7, 8 years down the road if he wanted to coach, do something, and you allow him back in. But like you said, what, he sit out a year?
Even if it was 2, I don't know what it would have been.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with every word of the basic agreement, but I do believe that Commissioner Manfred said that a player banned for life has the opportunity to apply for reinstatement. And obviously that's what Henry Mejia did. And his appeal was heard and granted. Another hit from Markakis. Ozzie's going to go first to third. Nick on his way to second as that throw floats in. And they're at second and third with 1 out. Braves trying to give him a finish, as they do so often. Second and third, 1 away in a 5-run game. 2 more hits for Nick.
And not resting on his all-star laurels. Facing a tough lefty, fights this off, and he was thinking double all the way. And even though the Braves are down by 5 runs, he's trying to get into scoring position. Good hustle.
So that's going to take care of Mr. Loop. John Gibbons goes to his bullpen again with Kurt Suzuki coming up. He's got the lone Braves RBI tonight. Harry Kane and England. Coverage starts at 1 Eastern on Fox, or stream all the action live on the Fox Sports app.
Go Croatia. Croatia, France in the final. That's what I say.
I don't know if the world could handle England versus France. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, my.
And Sungwon Oh is on. He's pitching for the 43rd time. Braves have action in the 8th inning, trailing by 5 runs, with Kurt Suzuki in the box with a 1-for-3 game. Oh has been a strikeout man, 20 of them in his last 13 games. And that one missed high.
We were talking about the suspension stuff, and I think one of the cool things about baseball has always been that we've had some great rules in place. You know, there's never been, okay, these guys are the same thing, but this guy gets this and this guy gets that. And I hope that Rob Manfred doesn't start doing what Roger Goodell did in the NFL, where it's almost like you got all the power. You know.
Sharply hit to short. That'll get a run home. Nice play by Gurriel. That gives Suzuki a 2 RBI night. Albies scores. Markakis has to hold. It's a 6-2 game. Well, the commissioner does apparently have broad powers to grant discretionary reinstatement. And whatever Mejia's case was, he agreed, and Mejia could be back as early as 2019.
Then don't call it a permanent ban.
Yeah,
call it a suspension.
I agree.
An indefinite suspension or something like that, pending some appeal somewhere down the road.
Regardless of what you thought of Pete Rose and what he did, I'll give Bud Selig credit. He had a stance and he never wavered in anything he did with that stuff.
Right.
1 ball, no strikes. And O delivers right there.
Got to clean it up, and you keep making allowances. Everybody knows they're going to get umpteen chances. Not right.
First year for O in Toronto after many years in South Korea, where he was called the final boss because of his great work closing out games. Also in Hanshin in the Japanese leagues. 2 years with the Cardinals, where he pitched very well, saved 39 games with the Redbirds. And a swing and a miss. There's that strikeout stuff by Sungwon Oh. Atlanta gets 1 in the 8th. It's 6-2.
Starter, that'll be Mike Fultonevich, because Max Fried was put on the DL and that was his spot to start, so they moved Fulte up a day, and Fulte is the focus of our Zaxby's indescribably good play, because the Braves love sending this guy out on the mound. When you look at the numbers he's put up, of course we know the first All-Star selection he just got, but a 1.55 ERA in his last 10 starts, and check out that ERA at home. a 218, guys. So again, Mike Foltynewicz gets the nod tomorrow in Game 2 versus the Jays.
And we look forward to that, Kelsey. 7:35 starts, 7:05, or excuse me, 7 o'clock, I should say, for Braves Live. Sam Gaviglio will pitch for the Jays. 2-2 with a 381 earned run average. Can't give the Jays any more. They lead 6-2 after 8. Lourdes Gurriel will lead off. This will be his first at bat. He came on as a pinch runner an inning ago and scored the first of 5 Toronto runs.
I can tell you what they like about this guy last inning. When you saw, I know we didn't talk about it, but when Kurt hit that ball, how fast he got to that and threw it over to first. It's a nice play.
Yeah, very smooth.
Line drive to center and right at ender for the first out.
Blue Jays have played well in the interleague. They are 8-4 coming into play tonight. Braves are 6-7.
And here's Smoke. He got the scoring started for Toronto in the 3rd inning with a solo home run, an RBI in 5 straight games for the Blue Jays first baseman. We were talking earlier tonight about the vagaries of interleague play and how this rotating divisional schedule may really affect the pennant races around Major League Baseball. And by that I mean this: the National League Central has the big advantage of facing a very weak American League Central, where Cleveland's running away. They're the only team above 500 in the AL Central. The National League Central teams playing those clubs are 43-21 against the AL Central. For a comparison's sake, the Braves, who have a big fight on their hands with Philadelphia and Washington, 3 teams separated at the moment by 5.5 games. Well, they have to play the American League East. And we know how good the Red Sox and Yankees are. Tampa Bay's over 500. Even Toronto's 7 under. The National League East against the American League East is 32 wins, 35 losses. And so at the moment, that's a 11-win difference.
It's a big difference.
And so when you think about wild cards, you think about winning your division. Well, I would think it's safe to say that in the National League, at least, Milwaukee, Chicago, St. Louis all have a decided advantage over the top 3 teams in the National League East because of the weakness of the competition they're playing this year.
You better not rely on the wild card as a fallback. Not in this division.
And with the tight race in the National League West, Dodgers, Giants in Arizona, this might be one of those years where you better win your division or you don't make the playoffs in the East, at least.
Some people are iffy on it. I love the 1-game playoff. I know it's tough to go 162 games and have it come down to 1 game, but I think it's great that they reward someone for winning their division.
Swing and a miss. Smoke is retired. 2 outs. I don't mind the 1-game playoff. I just wish that every team played everybody at least 1 series.
Well, and I agree with that, but you can also look at it a couple different ways. Just what, 2 years ago, you had Cleveland, Kansas City, and Detroit, you know, all 15, 20 games above 500. So, you know, divisions come, divisions go, but I do like finally having someone get something for winning their division.
Here's Grichuk. He has a hit and a run tonight.
What I thought was never fair was if you won your division and you were the last and had to play a 1-game wild card against a wild card.
Well, that might happen in the AL East. Yankees and Red Sox both might win 100 games. And the way it stacks up now, doesn't the, well, you got the wild card game first.
No, so that's
but
my point.
You could.
You win your division, you get a best-of-5 series,
right?
Which you used to not.
Right. 2 balls, no strikes. Shift on for Grichuk. 3 defenders left side. Pitch is fouled away. That got a big piece of Suzuki on the way by. Oh.
Gosh, he takes a beating.
2-1. Check swing. Suzuki, next pitch, scampers and makes a fine play.
Good play.
Picked up the one in the middle, I would guess. And Atlanta's coming up for their last turn in the 9th inning. 6-2 Toronto. $31,747. And an old friend is coming on as you see our Xfinity cameras zoom in to home plate. Hopefully the Braves will be zooming around the bases against a familiar face, Tyler Clippard, whom the Braves have creamed since 2013.
Those 22 appearances, he can count on maybe 2 fingers how many of them were any good at all, because Atlanta has owned this lad. 6.5 ERA. They always seem to be like when he was a setup guy with Washington. 7th, 8th,
he
9th
owned
inning.
us then.
He was good.
When he was a setup guy for, I said, when he was a setup guy for Washington, it was like I used to say late in the career with Philly, Ryan Madson. I would have rather faced Brad Lidge and Ryan Madson. I'd have rather faced Chad Cordero or whoever was closing Washington than Tyler Clippard.
Well, he is throwing a ton of changeups, says the Toronto media packet, and something off speed there, taken for a strike to Acuna. Ronald 0 for 3 in the game. He'll be followed by Swanson, and then we'll see. The Braves need 4 to tie, 5 to win in the 9th. There's a strike. And Acuna behind, a ball and 2 strikes. I would guess Clippard would be out there for the taking if somebody wanted to get him. Well-traveled guy with playoff experience. As that's off the plate.
Have you got his media info there?
Don't.
Okay.
What you want to know?
I was trying to figure out how many teams he's been with since we saw him with Washington.
He's been with the Mets. He's been with Oakland.
Anyway.
He's been with the Yankees.
Well, he's the Yankee Clippard. That was easy.
Been with 7 teams. And the Nats. And Toronto. That's 5.
Arizona.
Ah, forgot Arizona.
White Sox.
There you go.
Swing and a miss. High fastball, 1 out. Yankees, Washington for the longest stretch, 2008 through 2014 with the Nats. Oakland, the Mets, 2015. Arizona and the Yankees 2016, Yankees, White Sox, Astros in 2017, and this year with Toronto. A two-time big league all-star. It was Washington that moved him to the bullpen.
Well, there was something going on when the Braves were wearing him out that I was led to believe that he was tipping his pitches. They knew exactly what he was throwing.
Well, and especially when you're a guy like him that relies on your changeup so much, that's a killer. He also, with Washington, he was throwing his heater at about 95, 96.
He was throwing much harder, yeah.
One pitch. Well, I'll say this for Clippard. Pretty fortunate for him. August 13th last year, he got traded to Houston and got a ring out of it.
There you go. Perseverance. Right place at the right time.
Popped up right side. Smoke is there. And Charlie Culberson will be the final hope for Atlanta in the ninth inning. As Clippard taking advantage of the suspension of Roberto Osuna. Not a save situation here, but one out away from closing out a game one win. Nationals are winning late. Phillies already beat the Mets 7-3. Milwaukee beat Miami 8-4 tonight. And if the Braves can't come back, they'll be a game behind the Phillies for the first time since May 1st. And low and outside, ball one. Braves having a rough go of it after the 4-0 start to the road trip. They're about to drop their 6th in 7 games.
I'll tell you this, though, there's not a team that doesn't go through one of these every year. And for us to be, what, 50-39, so let's say we're 50-40, to play 90 games and play like we have, you're going to be there and you're going to be good. You can't fluke your way for 90 games.
It's no fluke, you're right.
Out of play, foul, and the Braves down to their last strike.
I think the All-Star break's coming at a perfect time for the Braves. Let the relievers rest their arms, enjoy some time off. And it's good because we start the second half in Washington. If that won't get your attention right away, then
you better come back ready to play.
Yep.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Charlie Culberson. The pitch. And we'll do it again. Cardinals frolicking in Chicago. They're clubbing the White Sox 11-2. Seattle leads the Angels 3-1. That game's in the first inning in Anaheim tonight.
Oakland has a better record, or as good a record as the Braves at the start of play tonight.
That's a tough division out there.
Oakland's playing great.
Yeah, they're 6 games behind Seattle. Seattle's 3 games behind Houston. The A's have won 8 of their last 10, and I heard something on the radio today. They have some crazy schedule, like 26 of their next 31 games are home. 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss will end the ball game. There's the changeup from Clippard, who strikes out a pair of Braves in the 9th inning. And the fateful 8th told the tale tonight. Toronto got 5 runs. The inning started with a couple of errors, and the Jays did not look back. 6-2 the final. The Braves now a game behind the Phillies in the East. And fellas, better luck tomorrow night behind Mike Fultonevich, we hope.
Need a shutdown game, kind of a stopper type game.
And we will talk about game 1 with you on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. For Joe Simpson, Kelsey Wenger, Jeff Francoeur, Chip Carey. Post-game shows coming up next.